Hello everybody, MegaZardX here, back at it again to give y'all another very exciting video. And for today, holy shoot, if you saw anything in the news last week, assuming that this information I'm talking about right now isn't outdated and Nintendo pulled a fast one on me and decided to announce the Switch 2 before this video even drops, apparently we had a whole bunch of leaks drop for the Nintendo Switch 2. And we had an inkling of a feeling that by this point, there's a good chance and a good possibility if they want to release this system maybe within the first 6 months of 2025, production for this system was going to be underway at any given point. And lo and behold, that day might have finally came, because we actually managed to get not only just like speculated things that also kind of tied in with a lot of rumors we had up into this point, but actual legit pictures that kind of come into question of whether or not this was real or not. And this is probably the closest thing I could say that is real than versus some other stuff that you might see on the internet or 4chan or whatever kind of Reddit posts you might be seeing out there while you're scourging through the internet though. So for today, I just want to talk about these images, kind of give my own 2 cents about everything that was showcased off in this one leak and how it kind of ties into the greater scope of Nintendo's plans on exactly how they're going to handle with this release for the Nintendo Switch 2 in terms of like a proper reveal and timing and everything else in between. So we might as well go ahead and jump up in it though. So if you hadn't already done so, make sure you're going to hit that like button, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and that bell to stay up to date on all things video game related I feel like talking about and discussing. But without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump straight up into this video. The Nintendo Switch 2. Now, I remember when this thing was first breaking out on the scene last week, I remember rolling out of my bed, waking up, and it was at the crack of dawn where I feel like all of these things posted about midnight-ish so, because apparently wherever this Switch 2 might be manufacturing from, I believe it's over there in the China area, you know, like where you're wearing the t-shirt and stuff like that, made in China. It feels like everything is over there made in China nowadays though. But yeah, this is somewhere overseas where they're manufacturing all these different things though. And the news kind of hit super early in the morning. I'm just scrolling through over here, checking out Nintendo Everything, where they had all the different images. And I might have some of these images popping up throughout the video, just to kind of give y'all a little look at it though. I won't leave it up there too long. I don't want Nintendo breathing down my neck or anything like that though. But I was looking through these images, I was like, you could tell some of these were 3D model ones, where it's like, okay, based upon some of the pictures that were the real images, they kind of made up a mock-up of what it could actually look like, because there's different things you can do in terms of 3D modeling and rendering and stuff on computers and stuff that can kind of give you a closer idea of what the finalized product will actually look like. So between the combination of those pictures and some of the real ones we managed to get of what could be the next new Joy-Cons for the system, as well as like some of the actual guts of the inside of what the Switch 2 would be, man, this is just crazy right here though. So let's go ahead and address the elephant in the room. Like, we already got some pictures of some of the Joy-Cons, which, you know, for the longest time, and I remember reporting about this when me and Steven have our talks on our Zarcast podcast, where we talked about one of the rumors that had a little bit of credit behind it, where it's like, hey, instead of the Joy-Cons being on the actual rails like there are with the baseline Nintendo Switch and the OLED by extension, they could be using magnets. And in the image that we managed to get, it definitely does seem like the case. Like, you have some bigger basically like L and R buttons if you were to flip those Joy-Cons around sideways. You do see like these small little grooves and these little holes where it's like, okay, somehow maybe they're able to connect to the base of the Switch on the sides. Which, you know, one thing I didn't really like about the Switch with the rail system originally was the fact that, you know, I feel like the longer you hold it, and I think more so the longer you have gameplay sessions with playing it in handheld mode, they just get a little bit of wear and tear up on there, where sometimes I think with one of my pair of Joy-Cons, you can put a little pressure on the bottom of it and it just pops right out. So I feel like if the magnets are secure on the side where it's not really going to go anywhere, hey, this might be a better solution for the next generation Nintendo console versus kind of what we have already though. So yeah, so nice stuff like that. It's just obviously the shells. We don't see like a lot of like the deep insides of it though. But you know, when you're dealing with manufacturing and stuff, like obviously none of these pictures are gonna look super clean and pretty. They don't have the paint jobs up on it though, but it kind of gives us an idea of what to actually expect though. And then while we're on the Joy-Cons and stuff, I mean, I'll go ahead and show y'all some of these other images up on here that show the 3D model ones. And it seems like these Joy-Cons should be a little bit bigger because in one of those 3D printed ones, we managed to get some of the scope and size of it, where it's actually going to be an 8-inch screen display. Now that's going to be a major upgrade in comparison to what we already have with the baseline Switch, where it's like, it's just, you know, I feel like it's like an extra inch plus some from the baseline ones, and it has a little bit of an extra wiggle room and stuff, even from the additional size of the OLED that originally was a little bit bigger than the Switch, because obviously you had a smaller bezel size and stuff like that though. So yeah, I would greatly appreciate a much bigger screen size up on it as well though. In terms of the memory on the Switch 2, it's going to have 256 gigabytes, which honestly is a great overall improvement comparison to the 32 gigs that you managed to get in the baseline Switch, or the 64 gigabyte version that you will get within the Switch OLED. Like 256, that's pretty sizable. That will almost be big enough to support all the digital games and DLCs that I have on my current Switch OLED on just the base system. So it'll be nice to actually see that upgrade, because we know games aren't necessarily getting smaller, they're always getting constantly bigger and bigger by scope and scale alike. So that's really nice to see that upgrade in terms of the storage. It does seem like HDMI, it will support it via 2.1, which if you know anything about HDMI 2.1s, it's a good call out that more than likely the Nintendo Switch 2 will likely have 4K compatibility, even if they use some of the technological terms that we've been hearing in terms of NVIDIA, in terms of like, artificial upscaling and such, doing whatever kind of tricks with modern technology to kind of boost that up to basically give you a 4K resolution while you're playing it in dock mode as well though. And then you get a little bit of other little technical mumbo jargo stuff. Like, I'm not necessarily like one of the greatest tech heads out there though, and I imagine you've probably been watching and studying up on a lot of different other people's videos and stuff that really know the actual specs of like what some of these numbers mean and stuff like that though. I mean, it does have NFC reader up on there, so it does seem like Amiibo is still going to be compatible with the Switch 2, which honestly, that's another good component right there to bring up, is the fact that if they're supporting that, then hey, it makes sense for the Switch 2 to be backwards compatible with the OG Switch. If that be the case, then yes, you need some kind of NFC reader up on there somewhere though, even if a lot of Switch 2 games ain't going to use Amiibos and such like that though. So that's another kind of strong push for us to actually have backwards compatibility and stuff. And then also we can look at one more good image up on here where it literally just showcases off the back internals of the Switch along with like two of the other Joy-Cons. Like that's just a crazy thing in terms of like leak culture, and reason why I thought Nintendo would be on the ball in terms of them being able to officially reveal the Switch 2 in like one of the trailers on their YouTube channel, is because everybody and their mama, the second that the Switch 2 is in production, or any console's in production, it only takes one person out there to take a picture. Everybody and their mama nowadays have a smartphone in their pocket. Take a picture, upload it onto like some crazy website, 4chan, Reddit, whatever, and eventually somebody is gonna poke their nose and be like, oh shoot, what is this? And then here we go, it's posted out there on Twitter, then it gets into the gaming news feeds, and people writing articles and stuff about it, then making YouTube videos and such, and then it's all out there. Everybody and their mama knows about this though. So that's the crazy thing about this mess in terms of this leak. In which the reason why I was also thinking about it is Tokyo Game Show is literally happening like right now. I was thinking Nintendo might have possibly got ahead of the game and possibly revealed it, but maybe they don't want to take too much attention away in terms of like other people announcing their games and stuff at Tokyo Game Show, or showing things behind closed doors and stuff though. I mean, we had a rumor of potential state of play that might have happened this week that happened up into the lead up of Tokyo Game Show as well though, and then probably some other announcements out there I'll cover later in the podcast though. But it kind of seemed like a good time for them to talk about it though. But at the same point, Nintendo likes to really announce things and showcase things on their own schedule. I'm just surprised they're waiting just a little longer than probably what they should have. So now everybody and their mama's thinking, well, there might be a possibility that this could be announced in the month of October at some given point. And that would kind of line up pretty well with how the original Switch trailer was kind of showcased off to us. Like, remember, that was in the month of October of like 2016, where they showed us little bits of pieces of like Mario Odyssey, which we didn't really know that game was in existence prior to that point. I think like Mario Kart and a few other games and stuff like that though. So it's like, okay, and Splatoon. So no, I don't know exactly what Nintendo's thinking right about now, though. But hey, they're gonna have to start getting ahead of the ball because I mean, if we already got a picture like this of some leaks and stuff, and I know Nintendo America, I know Nintendo Japan is looking at this mess right now and like, should we have announced this earlier? Are we gonna push things up? Because remind y'all, they had a Nintendo Direct where they had an Indie World showcase and a partner showcase, and they moved that mess up to like the last week of August. So that was another reason why people were thinking, could the Switch 2 be announced some point in September? But if not September, hey, could be in October. We'll just have to all wait and see though. Now, while I'm talking about the topic of the Switch 2 and stuff, it's just a nice little coincidence of how this stuff happened to leak out, and we managed to get some confirmed bits of information coming in that even Nintendo in like the prior week was like inviting different people from, like, for example, like limited run games and other partners that work with Nintendo. They invited them in to showcase off something to them. And I would imagine, would it be in the week prior to Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom? With it being prior to it, I imagine like it doesn't make sense for them to showcase that off to other partners like limited run games for that. Like Nintendo's gonna publish, print all their copies and stuff like that. So I was like, what are they really talking about behind closed doors? And then the next week following it, which technically would have been this week, they were inviting other people that probably would have been part of like, you know, maybe gaming journalism, stuff like that. Different people like that. They're not super heavy in the industry. They're just kind of like, you know, people that report about stuff, if that makes sense. They're gonna have those people meet with them the following week. So I'm like, wait a minute. So the fact that we have all of this, we had these leaks like that. We heard about previous rumors and stuff prior to this that kind of line up with some of the information we got out of this leak with this actual hardware. It's like, gosh dang it, Nintendo. Like, I don't know what needs to happen in terms of getting this thing announced though. But hey, you drag your feet any more than this, I'm telling you, people are gonna wind up doing all the advertising and, you know, talking about all of this stuff. Hey, it could be for good, it could be for bad, it could be misleading some people, it could be leading people in the right direction though. But I know Nintendo always likes to set the agenda, and I feel like they're just a little bit behind the ball, at least within their announcement reveal trailer, even if it comes in the month of October, considering the fact that this might be very well in production right now and stuff is just slowly leaking out there. I don't know how Mario's gonna be able to fix this leak up. I mean, the dude, Nintendo's mascot is the plumber himself, Mario, and even him, I don't think he can. I don't even think he could tie up these pipes tight enough to keep this water from spilling out everywhere, though. But man, oh man, this is some interesting bit of news that we managed to get in terms of this big leak. And, you know, I usually put an asterisk next to most leaks and rumors, though, but like, you can't make this stuff up anymore. You just can't. Whew. All right. Well, think I can mumble on and on and on about this, though. I would love to hear your thoughts down in the comment section down below. What all do you think about this one potential leak for the Nintendo Switch 2? And let's go ahead. We're almost around that point now. Let's go ahead and start throwing out some dates. Do you think it's going to be still in the month of September? By the time this video comes out, more than likely not. So let's say, are you on Team October, Team November, or Team December? I feel like it's got to be showcased off in a reveal trailer, similar to how the original Switch was in October 2016, before the year concludes. I feel like that's still a good chance because we only got like, gosh, almost like less than 6 months now for them to fully give us all these details before the end of the fiscal year in March of 2025. So I'd love to hear your thoughts down in the comment section down below. What is the month that Nintendo's going to officially reveal the Switch 2? I'd love to see it. But that's going to basically do it in terms of today's video, though. So if you really like this video, make sure to go and hit that like button. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button and that bell to stay up to date on all things video game related they like talking about and discussing. So remember, y'all, until our video I make next, see y'all.